we got the Bavsound kit that we saw earlier. Just taking everything out of the box so we can see it. These are the big speakers for the front doors, and then in the back, I think they're, I don't know what the dimensions are, to be honest. I want to say 2.5 or something like that, but it doesn't really seem right. But the two, and another box for the big two in the back behind the rear seats. And then these right here are the mids. So we got the mids right there, and then these are probably going to be the only thing we can't use, the tweeters, just because in the coupes, the tweeters and the mids are put together on like the same wiring in the front, and then for the sedans they're separate. So I don't know if I'll be able to use one set of the tweeters and mids unless I find a way to wire it, but it'll still be a big upgrade. I mean, pretty much like every single speaker is blown besides like the driver's main down there, the big one. And then the two in the front, the mids and tweeters that are paired together, actually I think are okay, so it might work out pretty well, replacing the others. But yeah, we'll have to see. I kind of went over the door removal earlier, and it's not too difficult, so I'm probably not going to film a lot of that. And this camera eats batteries, and with it being pretty hot out now, it has like an overheating limit that it'll hit, and then it'll stop filming. So I'll try to film as much as I can, but you know, we'll see how much we actually get done with. But yeah, it'll definitely be a pretty big upgrade for sure on the interior, and glad that I found one on such a good deal. And yeah, apparently it's supposed to be plug and play, so I can't really beat that, but we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the passenger side door, just because I've taken it off quite a few times already, and if I break any of the tabs, not that big of a deal. But it's just, we got the one screw right there, and then it should be 3 on the bottom, so 5 in total. But I ended up losing the screws that go there, and only have that one and that one holding it in currently. So yeah, it's kind of like a quick release door, but yeah, we'll get it on, or get it off, and then should be pretty easy, according to Bav Auto, but we'll see. Then you just have these connectors on the back side. Got the one right there for the mid and tweeter, and then that one down there for the main, and then just the door handle. The door handle should pull all that off, and then pull the door panel off, and then give her a look. Sweet. So now we got the door panel off, as you can see, and what we're gonna do pretty much is just pull these housings off. There's screws holes down there, right there. I'll pull that off. And then the speaker will come out. Pull the speaker out, put the new one in, screw it down, and then yeah. And then looking at this, we'll have to look at the wiring on the back of the Bav Auto stuff. Or the Bavsound stuff, but I'm wondering if I could just splice those wires into the connectors, or cut them and then just like heat shrink down on it, so that might be crooked or whatever. So I was hoping that's what it would be, but I'll look at the new stuff that I have, and then we'll see what I end up doing with that. But falling apart and shit. Put that to the side. So I got the old crusty one right here, and then we got the two new ones right here. Okay, go ahead and pull them out. Alright, we got it taken out. It's old crusty OEM Bavsound. Looks all nice. The only difference is these. They're like two prongs. It's essentially the same thing. I'll just have to probably like electrical tape it to make it secure, because on the OE one you can see it has like that tab with the prongs in there. So on the car side it'll work the same. The prongs will just slide in there, but then obviously there's not anything for the prongs to like completely be secure in, you know, like I could still pull them out if I just pulled on them, gave them a good pull. So probably just stick them in there, electrical tape it, and that'll be that for, you know, for now at least. But yeah, they look really good. We'll get them screwed in, and then I'll take a look at that tweeter mid setup there and see maybe what we can do about that.
No.
So I moved inside because it was starting to get rainy out, but it was just, you know, being bipolar and raining for 5 minutes and then stopping and then raining for 5 minutes. But either way, we took both the door cards off, driver and passenger, and I'm just gonna go on the patio, have a little bit of coverage over top of me in case it does rain, then I can get back to it. But I was looking at it, and so we ended up taking the bracket off that had the old tweeter and mid-range. So I ended up cutting out the old mid-range that was in here before and made enough space so that this new one can fit in that hole essentially, and then we're just going to put some adhesive sealant that came with the kit, and that'll seal that in there. And now pretty much we're just going to do the same thing for the tweeter side. So yep, there we go. We're just going to have to cut this piece out right there, big enough that the new tweeter can fit in, and then I'll have to figure out how to seal that in with something, or at least, you know, make it so it doesn't move around. But the cool thing is, I was looking at the old tweeter, and so this kit is actually for there's a cat, for a sedan, not a coupe, but I got it for a pretty good deal, and all the stuff is the same except that the coupe kit comes with, you know, the bracket already installed for you and everything. So I'm kind of having to do my own, and that's why we have to cut that out and whatnot. But this piece right here I saved because I need this connector to be able to plug in with the car. Alright, the lighting sucks over in that corner, so I'm trying to get a little bit better of a visual for you guys. But I was looking at the old connector, and it originally has this little black piece right here. Watch out. That covers this piece up. Well, I took that off, and then you look in and it has like the normal, you know, like push pin type of contacts. And I was looking at the connectors that comes on the Bavsound kit, and then looking in there at the same type of connectors. So then I realized, originally I was thinking I was gonna have to, like, you know, cut this and then solder into these wires, but it actually is a lot simpler. I'll just have to make sure I'm pinning it correctly, pull these pins out, take the pins out of that, and then pin it into here, and then the connector is the only thing I'll take, and yeah. So it actually works out really good because I hate soldering. So I'm pretty happy that I figured that one out. I thought I was gonna have to break out the kit that I haven't used in forever to solder, and it would probably be a really shitty connection, but I mean, I guess, you know, good quality parts pay off in the end, so that's nice. Another good upside to this kit for sure. But yeah, we gotta modify that bracket a little bit more and get the tweeter with enough space so we can seal that one in, and then we'll just depin the old connector, depin the Bavsound, and pin it back into the connector, the 4-pin connector, and then it should be good to go. So I'm glad it worked out. That was actually pretty nice. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. So the tweeter, we can just pop out. It's got tabs on the back, pop that out, but this we have to cut the housing, cut this, pull it out, and then Dremel around the edges to clearance the room out for the other one. So this one's kind of messy. This is pretty easy, but then you still have to Dremel out some as well to get the new tweeter in. So either way, it gets a little bit messy. There's a bunch of plastic little shards around, but hopefully it'll be worth it by the time I'm done. Well, we got this bracket set up. I think it should be good for the most part. We used this industrial adhesive that came with the kit. Looks like it's going to do the trick, but we're going to go ahead and let this one dry and then get started on the driver's side. Just got to pull off the big one and then pull off the bracket for that, and then do the exact same thing we did to that one as there, and then the front should be good. Alright, so let the housing sit overnight and let the adhesive, you know, get a little bit more solid on there. And they're looking good. It looks like they're going to be sticking on there for a while. I mean, it was industrial strength adhesive, so sounds pretty strong to me. But they're looking good. Looking at the connectors on them, we're actually going to have to do a little bit of soldering. The new tweeters, they have a female connector which would still slot in to the 4-pin connector that I need to use, but the 4-pin connector from the old tweeter is the male connectors, so it slots in, but then it has that extra point, and I'll show you guys that later. So we are gonna have to solder those connectors on the end of the new tweeters, but the mid-ranges are already set up with the males, so all I have to do is pop those pins out of the 3-pin connector that comes with the mid-range, and then just slot them back into the right spots on the 4-pin connector from the old mid-range tweeter setup. Alright, so we got the mid-range D-pinned out of the old connector, and this is what I was talking about. So if we can get it to focus. God damn. That little bit at the end there, that's what we need. Whereas the ones that come with the kit in the tweeter are just females like that, so they just don't have that extra little bit at the end. So that's the only reason why we need to solder with the old pins that are in here. So not a big deal, pretty easy, and then we'll get that soldering done. Alright, so we pulled the pins out of this old connector. Or sorry, this is the 3-pin that comes with the kit. But obviously we're going to be reusing the form pin connector because it's a coupe, and we got all the stuff stripped off of the old tweeter, and so that's oh god, that's the male connector that we had to use. And then obviously we stripped the wires from the new stuff, stripped the old stuff, and then twisted them on. Now we're just getting the solder heated up, and then we can start soldering these bad boys together, heat shrink it, and then repin it back into the new connector. Then we'll get the housings all set up on the door cards, and that will be that for the doors. And then we'll put those babies back on, probably test them. Probably test them out, just make sure they're getting power and everything, you know, well, and that they work before I move on to the next one. And after this, we'll probably be doing the big speakers in the back behind the rear seats, and potentially be pulling out the rear seat and rear coupe door cars to get those the mids on the back seats. But definitely we'll be putting the doors back in today, and then doing the big main speakers in the back of the car. So it's all coming together. Alright, we got it all repinned, put the cover back on, and it is good to go. So now I'll head back over, put the T20 screws back in, get this back on, and then go back outside and throw them back on the car and see how they do. So I got the door cards back on, both of them look good. Now we're gonna be doing the back ones in here. Pretty much what you have to do is pull this cap off, take a bolt off right there, and then just pry this whole piece up, and there'll be three. This is a 13, and then there should be three 8mm bolts you pull out, and then the speaker will come out, and it's just the same for both sides. Well, as you can see, we got them all in, wrapped up again, and all that fucking nasty ass sweat, but speakers are in. It's just hard working in this fucking tiny ass compartment, but they're in now, so we'll see how they all sound. We still have to do these ones, but I'll probably wait on these. The weather's getting shitty out, and I just don't feel like fucking sweating anymore today, but yeah, the main parts are in now. Alright guys, so we're getting to the end of the video. So how are they? The Bavsound kit is I mean, for how convenient it is, obviously not as convenient for me, right? But that's because I cheaped out and went with the used, not used, right, but bought it off of Facebook Marketplace. Wasn't meant for a coupe. If it had been meant for a coupe, it would have been straight. I probably would have, you know, I wouldn't have had to do all that custom BS that I had to do. But I also didn't pay, you know, I paid pretty much half price for it. So, you know, it gives and it takes a little bit. But as far as quality goes, you know, the speakers, they do sound good. Don't expect like you're gonna have a sub, right? It's not like it's, you know, you can super duper feel it. It's but like, you know, for me, not having any speakers at all really, I think before just the front left, the main, and then the mids and tweeters in the front were working, so, and everything else was pretty much blown out. So just to have all like the main speakers be usable and not cracking and everything, it's definitely an upgrade, definitely worth it. The rear big speakers, kind of a bitch to put in, not gonna lie, just because it's tight back there and you can't, you know, like trying to fit your head in there to see it's not super convenient, right? But you know, it is what it is. It's still not that difficult to do. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of kind of lazied out a little bit. I didn't take the rear door cards off and swap out the mids back there. I really just didn't feel like it was worth it to pull everything, pull the door, just to swap that little mid, and mine still work. So maybe in the future, if I hear those crackling, I'll pull it, or if I have those pulled for whatever reason anyways, I'll go ahead and do them. But yeah, I mean, don't blame me. I was in kind of a pissy mood after I got the big speakers in the back all done, just because I was sweating my ass off back there. But no, super great. Part of it too is probably that my head unit, I can't just adjust the bass on its own, because I think if I could do that, then it would definitely, you could feel, you know, the speakers a little bit more if I could adjust the bass by itself. But through the head unit software, for some reason, maybe I just can't find it, but I haven't been able to do that yet. But definitely, like when you're just sitting at a light or whatever, and it's kind of a bassy song, if you turn it up, you'll definitely be able to hear them in the back kind of kicking, the speakers kicking and stuff like that. But when you're on the highway driving, and I have a roof rack on, so I have a little more wind noise, right? But this will all like the wind noise and the road noise. You can't necessarily hear the bass as much, but again, maybe that's just with the head unit and stuff like that. But either way, the speakers are really nice quality. Can't really complain that much, honestly, for the install, besides, you know, just the stuff I did to myself with buying the kit for a sedan. But no, I'm happy about it. Just one step closer to getting it a dailyable, hopefully track car one of these days. So we're making progress. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope it was decent, at least entertaining a little bit. So yeah, have a good one. Appreciate it.